I wanted to get more scientific. I wanted to just invite everybody into an honest conversation and not just kind of put my presumptions based off of a few conversations out there. So I went scientifically to Instagram and I asked on Insta stories, I said, hey, could you describe your experience of dating? Like, what are your hopes and what do you hate about being a Jesus follower trying to date in our moment? And boy, did people have answers for this one. So some of the answers were, I said, keep it real. We're not trying to mess around here. We want to know what the struggles are. And so people said dating standards are way too high, including my own. Men got some shots fired at them, so brace yourself, fellas. Men throw out mixed messages was one of them. Another one was, I know I'm a good communicator, but most men don't seem to be. Hey. Another was, don't want to make the first move all the time, but no one approaches me if I don't. Another was, I'm unsure if I can date a non-Christian. If he agrees, our children could be raised Christian. So people really questioning, like, what's okay? Like, what does that look like? Another was, it's hard to know when God is telling you someone is supposed to be let go, or even to know when God is saying to pursue someone, the discernment challenge. Someone said, if you put a Christian filter on the apps, it drops the dating pool down to like 10%. And then from there, like according to Barna, the stats are that it's only about 10% of like American Christians actually like are practicing their Christian faith, those who claim it. And then it's about 4% who take their faith seriously amongst like millennials and Gen Z. And so that again makes it more selective. Another one, someone said, it's so frustrating because I feel such a pressure to get married despite feeling God's call to singleness. Somebody else said, the oversimplification of God's timing. Someone just wrote, ha, 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 ha. I was like, that's not an answer, but that's hilarious. And then the best were, I got sent 2 memes. The first one, I feel you, I get it, is this one, all I want is snuggles, all I get is struggles. And I was like, I feel you, man. I'm a snuggler. And then the other one was the biblical metaphor of, I asked this guy, we spent some time together recently, and he was like, you can even name me if you want, but I won't. Single, eligible, great guy. And he said, it feels like the blind leading the blind. And I was like, biblical, that works. Conversely, I asked people who made it through the struggle or are making it through, and that doesn't mean they got married. They just feel like they've got the peace of God and they felt like they've rediscovered a kingdom vision for dating. Let me say that again. The end game of dating is not to find a spouse. We'll get to that. But rather someone who felt like, hey, I felt contentment, godliness with contentment. I felt like I'm in alignment with what God has for me in faithfulness as I discern it in dating. People said, though the Seattle culture seriously invades good doctrine and makes it finding a biblical partner hard, I have learned to operate with Christ in the middle and not as a sidecar. Beautiful. Someone else said, look in your friend zone for the love of your life and don't fear long distance dating. Open your eyes to what God might already be providing. Someone else said, I learned to focus on becoming what I was looking for in a partner instead of putting all my effort in trying to find one. Someone else said, I found clarity about my expectations so that I could love well, and I found boundaries about how I could honor myself well. But in all this to say, what a beautiful vision. And I think the scriptures have an even more beautiful vision that we're going to unpack here in a minute. I just want to say that we as the church need to be honest and confessional. That one of the ways that I think we're missing an opportunity in our witness, like if we want to reach Seattle, if we want to believe transformation is possible in Seattle and wherever you are as it is in heaven, we have to learn to stop dating like the world dates. We actually need to be set apart, other, called to a higher standard, that we can be salt and light in a city on a hill, that if you date someone in this community, it's not like a car wreck on the other side, because your centeredness is in Christ, because you are found in him, you are clothed with Christ, and ultimately you love and honor your brother or sister who is made in his image, and it just didn't work out. And you can be salt and light to them, let alone to our neighbors who come and see you and sit in your small group and realize that your whole life didn't fall apart because it didn't work out with that one person. What would happen if we did that? What would happen if we found a way to date, not to consume, but to care like Christ does. In a world like ours, where everything is easy everywhere all at once, where dating feels like Amazon, where it's like, oh, I could get this delivered to my house today. Like I could find a way right now to do the thing. It's easier to choose easy. And consuming someone else is coming from a place of scarcity. And we as a church, I believe, are called not to date in fear of scarcity, as if the God who made every single person can't raise up another person to be with you. As if the God who didn't make every single person is not speaking in their ear in love and is not giving you the authority and the courage to love like him, could not give you confidence that he can provide for you, whether you are single or you date or you eventually get married. Friends, don't believe the lies and the myths of scarcity in our culture